friends, welcome to Sky House Herbs Podcast. I'm Ashley Ellenboss, a clinical herbalist, and in this space I share my knowledge and experience with plant medicine to help you on your own journey of healing and transformation. Join me in exploring the ancient wisdom of plant spirit medicine and how it can be used to heal the body, mind, and spirit. We'll talk to experts in the field and share stories from people who've been transformed by powerful plant allies. New episodes are released each Monday, so please subscribe. And now, let's explore this mystical world of plant medicine together. Hey friends, today I'm taking you in my garden and beyond into the woods to show you some plants that are wonderful medicinal allies and obviously pretty easy to grow. The first herb is chamomile. This is in my garden. This is just the second year it's grown, and I just want to show you, look, it's actually grown all the way onto the into the stones, and we've got our first flower here, and all of these will start to flower pretty soon. And it's pretty easy to they're not ready at all to harvest, but when they're ready to harvest, it's just the flowers, and you just pick them off, and just pick them off one at a time, and you can dry them in a basket, and they make an excellent tea for sleep, relaxation, and for any sort of digestive upset. The next plant in the garden is Motherwort, and I actually just snatched this from the woods. It was growing back there deep in the woods, and I wanted it in the garden, so I dug it up maybe about a month and a half ago, and I transplanted it into the garden. It seems to be very happy. Some of the ways that you can tell this plant is it's got these, I kind of call it chicken foot. Kind of got these chicken foot leaves, and they're very, very deeply veined and deeply lobed, and it has a square stem. You can see it there. And this is a member of the mint family, although it really does not taste minty at all. It's very bitter, and if you just take a little bit and chew it, it has this very kind of like aromatic, super bitter flavor, and it's really good for anxiety, stress, heart palpitations. As the name would suggest, mother's wort. It's also good for menstrual issues and different, also menopause. But it's really good women's health herb, but I use it for men too, where there's conditions of the heart that maybe are related to the mother or that are related to stress or overuse or strain. So this might look like a mess, but it's actually not. It's actually some really cool medicinal plants. So this one is black cohosh, and it is growing. You can see it's got this stem, and it comes off in summer. Do you want to talk about it? Black cohosh?
What's it about?
What's it about? Well, for me, I use this herb a lot when I'm trying to go deeper into the roots of things. One of its other names is black snake root, and I just like to use it more on energetic doses for kind of unraveling mysteries, and really helps my sleep and my dreams. It's also an estrogen modulator, so for people that are going through menopause or having hormonal issues, it can be a really nice supportive plant for those transitions. Oh, look at that big fat bee. I love big fuzzy fat bees. So anyway, this is black cohosh. If you see it in the woods, it does grow wild in the more forested woodlands, and you can see it's got these long pinnately divided leaves and these deep serrations. So moving on to the other big batch of green in the garden is my Monarda fistulosa. So this is Monarda, and it's also called bee balm. It's called Oswego tea, another of its names, sweet leaf, bergamot. And it's in the mint family, so it's got that signature square stem, opposite leaves. And this one does have a very strong smell. It's like an oregano. It's also called wild oregano. So if you were to snap the leaf off, I'm not going to do that for this guy, but if you were to snap it off and crush it, it smells like oregano. And it's good for all the things that you'd imagine oregano would be good for, like coughs and colds and thinning mucus. It's got a lot of other really cool magical uses that I'll get into a video sometime this summer. But for now, this is what it looks like before it flowers. When it flowers, it'll have like a purple, like a light purple flower with like a bunch of little tubes on it, very mint flower looking. And the flower is also medicinal and edible. So now I'm going to take us into the woods a little bit and Here really quickly is Nettles. This is Urtica dioica, and if you look closely, you can see those stinging needles all the way down. And those are filled with formic acid, the same thing that they have in, that ants have when they bite you, fire ants. So it stings like a lot when you run into these little needles. They're like hypodermic needles. But when you dry them, that actually dries up and you can drink them as a tea. It's very, very nutritious. I also like to cook them like a spinach. So I'll just cut the leaves off, give them a good wash, and then I'll stir fry them with olive oil and garlic, and it's so, so tasty. What else do we have here? Looking around. I think I saw some violets. Oh, you know what else is here? Let's take a look. Jewelweed. This jewelweed looks pretty wilted because it's so hot. But let's look at it anyway. So this is jewelweed, and I'm going to pull one out because there's just so many. And this has a clear stem, and if I squish it, it has liquid in it. So you can see the liquid inside there. And this is really good for burns, stings, bites. Also a good, think of it like aloe. This one is like aloe of the, I know, a butterfly. This one is like aloe of the north, and it's a really, really good one. So, but yeah, you can tell because it's got this kind of clear-looking stem, and it's hollow and full of this viscous mucus stuff, and it has these very light roots, so you can pull it up super easy. I always try to cut it without pulling up the roots. Now I'm leaving. This is the Monarda fistulosa, or my wild bergamot. We've got valerian here, and valerian, it's going to flower soon. It's got these white flowers, and yeah, this one, it looks like he needs a little water. He's a little wilted. It's really hot out today, but this is a really great plant. It's actually the root that's medicinal, and it's very warming. It has a lot of volatile oil, so it's really good to help with sleep if you tend to run cold, or if you're so exhausted you can't sleep. Have you ever had that where like you don't sleep well for like 4 days and you're so tired you can't sleep? That's when I find valerian helpful. But for a lot of people, including myself, I run warm. So for me, this plant actually is too stimulating on just a regular night of trying to get sleep, so I wouldn't recommend it for that. We're just gonna turn around and look at this beautiful big guy. Hello. Hello, big friend. Look at those veins. Wow, so cool. So this is, this one is Angelica, Archangelica, and here are the flowers up here. This beautiful, it looks kind of like it looks almost like broccoli, but it's not. It's an umbelliferate, so it's got this sort of very classic Apiaceae shape to it. And these grow wild in usually like creeks and on the sides of sides of roads, or in like disturbed soil. Oh, I just broke its branch. Just a second, Summer, honey. Oh, trying to feed two birds with one hand. And but this one is a great herb. I really like to use the roots. They're super aromatic, and they kind of have that signature kind of maple syrup and parsley smell, and they're really, really good for helping with sleep. They're good antispasmodics to help with digestive cramps and menstrual cramps, and any times where there's coldness in the stomach. It's really, really nice for that. I just found another herb, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna get to it through all these prickers, but let's see, I'm gonna walk around here. Oh, this is a fun one to share, and this is a really healthy batch. So right here we have Cleavers, and if I run my hand, can you hear that? You can kind of hear a little bit of the roughness to it, and it's like it has these little hooks on it which make it stick to your clothes. So if I were to take a piece and I could just kind of let it, it would stick to my pants. These are a little older, so they're not so good, but if they're my shirt. So it has these little hooks. So if you want to test it, that's one way, is like, does it have Velcro on it? And then the other thing is it has these whorled leaf orientations. So if you look, all the leaves come out from one point on the stem, And you can just see there's a whole patch of them here. And so the leaves just continue to come in these whorls off the stem. Now, Cleavers is a great edible green. When it's this old, it's a little more tough, so I wouldn't personally eat this, but what I would do is I would tincture it. It's a really good lymphatic, so it's really good for clearing lymph, for cooling the body. It's very, very cooling. And you can also take it and put it in a blender with some water and make it into like a juice. Like you can basically juice Cleavers, and it's full of so many really cleansing, cooling, and nutritious compounds. So that's a pretty neat one. And one thing I learned from Rosemary Gladstar, I did on an herb walk with her many years ago, is she calls it nature's Brillo pad. And so she'll gather like handfuls of it when she's camping and just make it into like a big sponge when she's washing her dishes or her pots. You know, pots when you're camping can get really dirty. She just uses this to scrub it because it's got those little grippers on it. It's like using a Brillo pad. So I loved hearing that. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I hope to use that soon. I realize that I'm not going to get to every plant out here, and that's okay. I'll close on this one because this one's really interesting. This one is Agrimony, and Agrimony is a plant. It's actually in the rose family, and so it has, this one only has 4 petals, which is interesting. Does it have 5 stamen? Oh, you know what? This is connected to a different plant. I was like, wait a minute. So actually, what is this? This is something else. So I don't know who that is. We're going to just put him aside. So this is the plant, Agrimony. It's got this very distinct shape. So if you see it in the wild, it's like, see how it has the leaves growing opposite, and it's got the tiny little leaflets and then 2 big ones and 2 little ones. So do you see that kind of going all the way up? 2 big and then 2 little, 2 big and 2 little, like that. It's really unique. There's not any plants I know of that look like this. But Agrimony, you can use the aerial parts, and when it does flower, it'll have a yellow flower with 5 petals. That's why having flowers is so helpful, because you're like, wait, I was like, this is not the right flower for this plant. And you can see it's like a weed that's just kind of growing in there. I guess I shouldn't call it a weed until I know its name, so I will key that one out later. But this one, Agrimony, I use it a lot for tension. It's got these sort of spiky, bristly looking, kind of like a cat whose hair is standing on end. And it's really for people that are like that, whose nervous systems are really jacked up and they're like just kind of on edge, like a cat all curled up and ready to pounce. So you can use it as a nervous system relaxant. It's also really good for the kidneys to help support and flush the kidneys out. And Matthew Wood taught me that it's also asshole repellent. And I actually, it's pretty funny. I had a friend of mine who worked in kind of a toxic office environment. And she had this boss she really didn't like. And this boss would come in and kind of bother her and give her extra work. So I made her a spray that had Agrimony tincture in it. And she would spray it in her office room. And she said, I swear he doesn't come in anymore like he used to. Like, he barely comes in. When he comes in, he doesn't bother me. He just comes in and then he leaves, and I don't get extra work. So she ordered another bottle. Then she told someone else about it. Then a bunch of people found out. Even my mom ordered a bottle. And so for a while, out of my apothecary, I was selling asshole repellent spirit spray. It's pretty funny. And everyone swore that their workspace environment was way better and healthier when they used it in their office. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that's an interesting use for this plant beyond just as a nervine and as a kidney medicine. All right, well, that is a little trip in my yard and through the woods. I hope you found some of these plants to be interesting, useful. Maybe you've seen these in your own yard or garden. And I'm gonna go now play with my daughter Summer, push her in the swing, and we're gonna plant a few more things in the garden. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you thought. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see y'all again soon. So I have a few extra bonus material. Summer just planted some of her own herbs. Do you wanna show them? Yeah. Okay, and then I wanted you to tell them, what is the silly name that we call that one with the little flower?
It's chamomile, but we call it chamomile.
Chamomile. Isn't that the funniest word? It's so silly.
And then we call Mother's Wort Mother's Cats to be funny.
Yeah. And then, can you climb down and can we show them Jack and the...
Okay.
Okay. This one's really silly.
It's the silliest of all the plant names.
Yeah. And Summer, you know right where it is, right?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to follow Summer.
This plant is called Jack in the Pulpit. And the trick is this I'll call this Jack, but this one is the armpit. So I'll call it Jack in the Armpit.
We call it Jack in the Armpit.
Yeah, it's a very funny name.
It's very funny. Look at something ate all of its leaves. Remember how it used to have 3 leaves? Like these ones? It used to have leaves like that, but somebody nibbled them. But yeah, that's my favorite one is Jack in the Armpit. That is just so silly.
And then called Dandelion. Also, I can Dandy Cat or Dandy or Dandy Tiger.
Dandy Tiger is a good one too. All right, well thanks everyone. Enjoy your day and we're gonna go back out into the garden.